Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Today's reading, we're going to look at Stephen Miller, the White House advisor. One of the viewers asking what he's been up to. I did a quick search on him and two things came up. He testified in the January 6th grand jury testimony, and he was mentioned in an article involving migrants and migrant boats. The January 6th testimony at a real high level involved Trump's ellipse speech, where Trump said that Mike Pence, all Mike Pence had to do to show he's a courageous leader was send the votes back to the states and send the illegal electors back to the states. Again, advancing the fake electors scheme. And that he had a role in writing that speech and edits to that speech. In the migrants case, he was querying a retired admiral, now retired admiral, but an admiral at the time, this back in 2018 or so, if they could use drones and missiles on drones to take out migrant boats. With the argument being put forth that, well, we use drones and missiles to take out pirates and terrorists, so why not migrants and boats? To which the admiral basically, you can imagine how it must have sounded. It's like, because that would be against international law. And there's a difference between the imminent threat of a pirate, an armed pirate trying to attack a ship, and a boat of migrants trying to find asylum. But that's the world we live in. Now, to be fair, and with full disclosure, thank you, Miles Taylor, who was writing this book, this is in Miles Taylor's book. Miles Taylor said this happened. Stephen Miller said it didn't happen. And the admiral, in this case, doesn't remember that specific line of questioning. He says, that they absolutely had the conversation, but he just doesn't remember that part of it. So, did it happen? I don't know. Did it happen? Who knows? Let's focus on the January 6th stuff, though. What is Stephen Miller? What's currently going on with Stephen Miller in his life, especially with regards to January 6th? Okay, so we get the judgment card. All right, so first off, Stephen Miller needs to be judged. He has done some absolutely horrific, low-energy things in his lifetime. He's also a dog whistle for white supremacists. Entertainment purposes only, but let's call it what it is. He acts as a dog whistle to white supremacists everywhere. Crossed with the Two of Swords. Okay, so this is probably about the January 6th testimony and having to go into the court of law and basically tell the truth. And you have a choice. You can tell the truth or you can commit perjury. Which one are you going to do? Because judgment's coming. What do we have underneath there? We have the Hierophant underneath there. So yes, this is all about the court case and the government cases. So the question is Stephen Miller a fanatical sycophant for MAGA, or is he going to save his own bacon? I tend to think the latter. He strikes me that way. So, are these cards upside down? We have the Hanged Man in the past. Stephen Miller, by getting into the White House, he got to experience power like he's never seen before and how to influence that power. I think he came in with Jeff Sessions, as I recall. And I seem to recall also reading that his speeches were horrible. I think Bannon ripped him a new one and pointed out who wrote good speeches so that Stephen Miller could hone his speech craft and, really get this message, this dog whistle message out to the masses. I don't think he's a willing sacrifice in this case, unless you think it's a willing sacrifice for white supremacy. Current situation, Two of Pentacles. Struggling with your priorities, struggling with your finances. This is also my card for flipping, just letting you know. When you've got this Two of Swords, what are you going to do? Are you going to look in your own best interest or somebody else's? In this one, this is telling me he's going to, he's weighing things. And I suspect that he's weighing what's in his best interest. tell him just enough, or is he just going to tell him just enough to not get himself in trouble? He doesn't want to be the willing sacrifice. Basically, he doesn't want to be the willing sacrifice for Trump. That's not his role. So, the overarching energy is, you have information we need. Come forward with that information. You have to testify in front of the grand jury. So now he has to figure out that testimony. And what's he going to give? Temperance. I think the information that Stephen Miller gave was integral, might be too strong a word, but there was important testimony that he shared, important insights that he shared. His insights probably would address Trump's state of mind going into the ellipse. You know, what was he thinking? What was he planning on doing? What was the messaging? And what was the intent of the messaging? Because Stephen Miller might be able to provide that. So I think that's what the temperance card is that Stephen Miller provided information, and now we're waiting to see how that information pans out. But I think it was an integral part of this case. Outcome, victory. I think Stephen Miller is going to avoid any culpability in all this. You know, Bald Eddie Haskell here, he saved his bacon. He told enough to get himself out of trouble. Did he flip? Possibly. But I don't know how much he would, if he flipped, I don't know how much he had to give. But he certainly told enough to get himself out of this. And again, this is everything to do with the government position. So I think Stephen Miller, if you were looking forward to seeing Stephen Miller in an orange jumpsuit, you're probably not gonna get that satisfaction. Just saying. I know we'd all like to see that, but I don't think we're gonna see that. Put these cards back in here. Some of these cards are upside down. I have to fix my deck later. All right. Well, we can ask. Will Stephen Miller face any prison time? Do we want prison time or convicted? Will he be convicted of any crimes associated with his time in the Trump administration? How about that? That's a nice broad one. You know, conviction would be good. We don't know what the punishment would be. It doesn't always necessarily involve incarceration. It could be fines. Who knows? But will Stephen Miller be held to account for any crimes he committed during his time in the Trump administration? That last one at least seems to indicate to me that he's not going to be held to account for anything with the January 6th. Oh, that Six of Wands, or that victory card, that could be about the speech. That could be about Trump being in front of the crowds. And they're hailing him as the chief and stuff like that. That's probably what that was. He might still be held to account, but I think that's what the outcome was Trump's speech there. And the temperance card was about integrating information into that speech. I'll just have to go find and reread that throw. Oftentimes there's a lot of overlap with the readings here. But let's see. Will Stephen Miller be held to account legally for anything that he did in the Trump administration? Well, they're secrets. We may not know yet. Star card. He certainly has some... He might have information on other people. If he wants to save his bacon, he can roll on other people here. Ooh, two big major arcana right out the chute. What do we got? There's the temperance card again. You know, that information that he has that showed up over here on that last reading, that could bear fruit. Ace of Cups. Wow. Real powerful cards. Strong emotions. The World card, another major arcana. Bringing an end to things. Three of Coins is the backroom dealings. And the agreements. And the betrayal. Oh my, Stephen. Stephen. You're not going to play nice with your compatriots? Oh, Stephen, you are staying up at night. You better be careful. All that stress is going to cause hair loss. Okay, so what do we have? Stephen Miller knows a lot about secrets, and he could be a star witness on that one. Temperance, in the past, he worked with the federal government, probably on that January 6th thing, and he might, that two of coins I had before could very well be that he flipped. And he provided information that's being integrated into their investigations. And now, nervous Nelly that he is, there's a strong emotional response to save himself, because he doesn't want to be held to account for everything that happens. So he'll close the loop on a lot of things. He's going to spill his guts and basically close the loop on a lot of investigations and the backroom dealings that were going on, because he's going to have that insight. He's going to have been in the room during some of those strategy planning sessions. So he's going to be able to name who said what and when. And there's going to be a real betrayal here with this, which tells me that I don't think people are spilling the beans on Stephen Miller. I think he's spilling the beans on other people. Again, he's like evil Eddie Haskell, isn't he? Fortunately, the demographics of my viewers are such that they know who Eddie Haskell is. I don't have to explain it. And they know how they felt about Eddie Haskell when watching Leave It to Beaver. For the younger folks, or for the folks that maybe aren't from the U.S., it's a Leave It to Beaver reference. Leave It to Beaver TV show reference. A show that was popular in the 50s and early 60s, I believe. Eddie Haskell was a childhood chum friend of one of the boys on the show. They were like high schoolers. And he was very polite and overly nice to the parents. And the minute that the parents are out of the room, he was this really rotten, horrible, obnoxious kid. And that was kind of the running joke, is that he's not who he appeared. The parents figured him out pretty quickly. Now, Ken Osmond was the actor. He did go on to become a police officer in life. Can you imagine being pulled over by Eddie Haskell? Life just doesn't seem fair sometimes, does it? Okay, did Stephen Miller really want to launch missiles at migrant boats? I mean, that sounds like something that we would believe he would do because we don't like him. That doesn't mean he said that. It just means that we would easily believe it because, propaganda and low energy hatred towards the guy. But did he actually really want to use missiles on migrant boats? Entertainment purposes only. Is that story in the Rolling Stone article in that book, is that true? All right, let's see. These cards are flying all over the place here. I don't know if I got the right ones on top, but again, they're flying all over the place. They do want to give me the answer. Offers you don't want to hear. Can we launch missiles at migrant boats? Why can't we launch missiles at migrant boats? We launch missiles at terrorists. We launch missiles at pirates. And here's the admiral going, I cannot believe I have to sit here and answer these questions. And there's your missiles. I don't think I need to throw any more on this. But let's find out. I have a great idea. This is a solid gold idea. Low energy, fool's gold. Fool's gold, foolish decisions, giant foolishness in the past. Huge foolish value system. The current situation, the Knight of Pentacles, protecting our way of life, protecting the elites in the U.S., anti-migrant type behavior. Nine of Cups, another nine, that smugness of, yeah, we're the United States. We can do whatever we want because we're large and in charge. And here's your migrants. We're not going to be held hostage to these migrants. These migrants have nothing. This is also him being, held to his own words because he said it to himself. And the Emperor acting like a dictator. Yeah. And then the turmoil underneath it. I don't doubt for a second he said that. Now, here's the thing. He may not have been serious. I don't know if there's anything in these cards that indicate he wasn't being serious other than just trying to stir the pot. But I want you to think about where his moral standings are such that he could, quote unquote, joke around about launching missiles, Hellfire missiles, on a boat full of migrants and then not remember saying it. How callous is his value of human life? And it's going to be like talking about blowing up boatloads of migrants and then a year later say, I don't remember that conversation. Dude, I think if I said I was going to blow up a boatload of migrants, I'd probably remember it because it would be such a moral failing or such an emotional thing. I mean, how much anger do you have to carry in order to blow up a boat full of innocent people? Or not so innocent people? The guy's a creep. Anyways, Stephen Miller, you asked, I read. Thank you for supporting my channel. Entertainment purposes only again. Thank you for your likes and your comments and your shares. I really do appreciate all the support that you give me and the kind words that I do get in the comments. I appreciate the questions that you throw on my my community page for topics to read. Don't always like reading on Stephen Miller. But hey, you know what? Hadn't done many readings on Stephen Miller. He was overdue for one. Thank you again. I'll catch you on the next reading. Take care.